Today the boys of Phi Gamma Pirate have their final exam on the history of pirates. Shall we go see what the boys are up to at the frat? Follow me inside and we will take a look.
Dude, we learned a lot about pirates yesterday. We're gonna have to take you back. Where's Ziggy? Dude, get up. We gotta find Isaac. We have to teach the kids about pirates.
What happened last night?
We learned everything about pirates in one night. We gotta go find Isaac.
Okay, dude.
Oh, let's go to the bathroom.
Yeah, dude.
Found Isaac.
Go Pirates. Oh, what happened?
We gotta teach the kids about the pirates.
Oh, we need to go back for that. I don't remember anything.
Okay, let's take you back.
What you guys up to?
I'm just playing some ping pong.
Nice. Well, I'm watching some Jimmy Tatro.
This one time. Guys! Do you know what's tomorrow?
What?
Our pirates test! Stop playing right now! We have to go!
God.
Piracy means an act of criminal violence or robbery at sea.
Piracy first came about when people started using boats and trading valuable goods at sea. The earliest recorded history of piracy was committed by the Vikings from Denmark. Around the 8th century, Vikings from Denmark and Norway sailed the Atlantic Ocean. They raided and burned ships. They traveled in longships, which were sea vessels made by the Vikings that traveled up and down the European coast, attacking other ships and stealing their valuables.
There are many famous pirates who emerged during the Victorian era, one of them being John Lafitte, who was a French slaver who imported slaves into the Americas illegally after the ban on slaves in 1808. Another was Pedro Gilbert, who was a pirate who would lure ships by lightning fires on shore and at sea, and then capture them. He was the last man hung for piracy in the USA. One of the most famous Chinese pirates of all was Chapsing Tai, who was a Chinese pirate in the South China Sea who commanded a fleet of more than 700 junks, which is another term for ships. He was active during the years of 1845 through 1859.
A typical pirate attacks ships and steals valuables like gold, jewels, and money. Pirates could not just do as they please. Being a pirate was a criminal act that was punishable by death. Privateers were the pirate's greatest enemy. A privateer is a ship or private person authorized by the government to stop pirate ships and take their possessions and property. A lot of privateers often became pirates after seeing the large amounts of riches that pirates possessed. Many turned to the piracy because they wanted to experience the freedom and benefit by the riches of a pirate's life. Pirates often recruited members from the ships that they captured. Some of the crew members worked under harsh conditions on a merchant or cargo ship was more than happy to join a pirate's crew. Naturally, there were rules to be obeyed. One of the most important rules was that a pirate could not steal from another crew member. No women were allowed aboard the ship. If pirates didn't adhere to these rules, they were punished. Some pirate ships sent offenders to a deserted island, and they were left there stranded. Some were tied to the mast of ships and whipped mercilessly, while others were hanged for breaking the rules.
There are many different types of pirates, but the two main pirates that we know of are the Corsairs and the Buccaneers. Corsairs were French privateers who occupied the South Mediterranean Sea. They worked for the King of France that began in the Middle Ages. Typically, these men came from England, Holland, and France. A buccaneer was a pirate in the 17th century that attacked Spanish ships in the Caribbean Sea. Corsairs attacked the ships of their country's enemies. They did this mostly in order to get compensated for the economic hardships they encountered during the times of war. The term buccaneer is now used generally as a synonym for pirate. Although there is speculation on the origins of the word buccaneer, the term most likely comes from the French word boucanier. They were originally hunters that poached cattle and pigs. The buccaneers smoked their meat on a wooden frame called boucans. This prevented the meat from going bad, and so they could preserve it and eat it for later. The sea people of the Mediterranean in the 14th century were the Illyrians and the Tarychians. They were also known as pirates. These pirates were comprised of mostly Greeks and Romans. During their voyages, the Illyrians seemed to have sometimes resorted to piracy. They specialized in kidnapping boys and girls and often sold them as slaves. The pirate flag with skull and crossbones is an iconic image seen throughout history. Blackbeard named the skull and crossbones flag the Jolly Roger, which also happened to be the name of one of his ships. Any man who became a pirate was considered an outlaw. If a pirate was caught by an official, he was hanged or put in prison, where he faced a sentence by death. Pirates didn't always get away with their misbehavior. For example, Captain William Kidd was put on trial for piracy and was found guilty and executed in 1707. Another example of a bad pirate who got caught was the famous Blackbeard, whose real name was Edward Teck. He was killed while trying to rob a Navy ship. During this intense battle, Blackbeard's head was severed from the rest of his body and hung from a Navy vessel to warn all other pirates not to mess with them.
Arg! 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 Arg!
You look a little hungry, bro.
Arg!
Eat a Snickers, bro.
Arg!
That satisfy your hunger?
Yeah.
Modern-day piracy is a huge issue. In the 15 years since armed Somali fishermen began forcing their way onto commercial ships, pirates have turned to the East African seas into the most dangerous waters on the planet. In 2008 alone, Somalia's lawless seamen captured more than 40 large vessels in the Gulf of Aden, which is a shortcut between Asia and Europe that's vital to the global economy. Wiping out today's pirates won't be easy. They're smarter, better organized, and frankly, better loved abroad than the swashbucklers of yesteryear. Other Somalian pirates made their debut, robbing a UN ship that was carrying food for refugee camps in Somalia. But these Somalian pirates argued that they were doing the right thing. They argued that if they hadn't taken the food, warlords of Somalia would have taken it. And they do have a great point. Warlords gobbled down a lot of Somalia's relief food during the 1990s. But from these perhaps defenseless beginnings, piracy spread farther from Somalia's shores and evolved into a multi-million-dollar enterprise. The best defense against piracy is speed, but most commercial ships aren't designed to go fast. Pirates don't have any trouble chasing them down. The most sophisticated martyrs use machine guns and GPS systems, but many pirates are still low-tech fishermen. After they board the ship, all they have to do is steal or ransom the goods and prisoners. The cargo of a typical commercial ship ransoms for about $1 million. By international agreement, civilian vessels aren't allowed to carry guns because government does not want armed ships moving from port to port. Everybody knows piracy is wrong, but is it even illegal? The truth is that these places where pirates operate are actually lawless. In Somalian territory, there is no functional government to make or enforce any regulation. And because this nation doesn't control much of the sea, there are no laws on the high seas as well. Throughout history, governments have patched together legal frameworks to bring pirates to justice, but it's never been fast or easy. With Somalian piracy on the rise, the world is playing legal catch-up. In November 2008, the United Kingdom signed an agreement to try pirates captured by the Royal Navy in Kenya. And other countries are following Britain's lead, with nations including the United States, Singapore, and Turkey are all signing similar agreements. The long-term solution to piracy is a stable Somali government with a functional judiciary, but that requires peace between the country's warring clans. Somalia's new president, elected in February of 2009, is starting to get groups to talk about solutions to piracy. Pirates rarely kill anyone, which is why they are so dangerous. It's difficult to tell pirates from any ordinary fisherman until they climb aboard a little ship and pull out their AK-47. So there's not much the US Navy can do, and other military forces cannot do as much either, except sail around and look for dangerous Somali pirates. If pirates successfully seize a ship, navies rarely attempt to retake it, because hostages could be hurt in the process. In the absence of an effective defense, there are more than 100 documented pirate attacks in 2008 alone that resulted in more than 40 ships being hijacked.
But for all their aggression, the body count is low. One ship's captain died of natural causes while being held hostage, and a few militiamen have died in shootouts as they tried to rescue prisoners. But in general, little blood has been spilled. Pirates also prefer to keep the prisoners in good health. Not only are civilians worth hundreds of thousands of dollars apiece in ransom, but the pirates' reputation for not harming their hostages have made governments reluctant to strike back on the behalf of shipping companies.
If you're Ziggy, you get kicked out of Mock Flock. If you get kicked out of Mock Flock, you have lower expectations. When you have lower expectations, you join a group of 3 knockoffs. If you join 3 knockoffs, Michael quits.
Yeah. Of course we are. What's that?
Are you guys fucking serious? What the hell is this?
The fuck, mates, that's work.
This isn't work, this is shit. I'm fucking done, guys. What the fuck?
When Michael quits, you're screwed. When you become stressed about Mock, you buy a yacht. When you buy a yacht, you get captured by pirates. Don't get captured by pirates. Get rid of cable and get DirecTV now.
Pirates prowl about 2 million square miles of the ocean. That's a lot of water, and even with thousands of ships on the high seas, it's possible to sail for days without seeing another vessel. So how do pirates know where to look and which ships to attack? Spies. The biggest gangs have informants in Mombasa, the major port in the region, where ships have to file paperwork stating what they're carrying and where they're going. According to Mombasa's business leader, spies inside Kenya Maritime Agency pass along this information to pirate bosses for a price. Pirates are also in cahoots with local bigwigs in northern Somalia in exchange for a cut in the pirates' hauls. Officials in Puntland region of Somalia turn a blind eye to the international crime flourishing under their noses.
Sailors know what they're getting into when they steer towards the East African waters, and because their crews can't carry any guns, they found other ways to fight off pirates. Last year, one Chinese ship used tactics borrowed straight from medieval castle sieges. Somali pirates are getting bolder. For years, they've chased small fry, such as Kenyan fishermen, small coastal freighters, and UN food ships. Today, with faster boats, better weapons, and more accurate information from their spies, they're going after massive cargo ships, supertankers, and even passenger liners. In September, pirates grabbed a Ukraine ship called the Finite, which is carrying armored vehicles, rockets, and other weapons. They followed up the heist by taking over a Saudi tanker called Sirius Star, which had crude oil aboard valued at over $100 million. Pirates typically attack in groups of around 10 and capture ships with 20 or so passengers. The ratio of captors to captives lets the pirates stay in control.
But with cruise ships carrying as many as 2,000 people, there's no way pirates would be able to conduct an orderly capture. Things might get out of hand, and that, officials say, is when people get hurt.
The true victims of Somalian piracy are the Somalis themselves. Nearly 4 million people, half the population, depend on food donations to survive. But pirate attacks on food ships have made it difficult for the United Nations to keep sending provisions. In a desperate bid to keep the supplies flowing, the UN issued a plea to the world's navies in 2007.
Naval deployments are expensive, and warships might not be available forever. This can mean the death by starvation for millions, all due to a few thousand opportunistic pirates. Naval deployments are expensive, and warships might not be available forever. This can mean the death by starvation for millions, all due to a few thousand opportunistic pirates.
Now I remember everything. We're set for the finals, boys. A+ is all around.
Let's pack up.
Okay. Go Pirates!
Game point. Go. Whoa!
Ah! The champion! You're disrespecting me, you're disrespecting my company, you're disrespecting my family, dude. The paddleboard? Yeah, I want my paddleboard. Oh, stop. Stop. No! Stop! Oh, stop! Stop! Stop!
Listen up, scallywags. It's game day today, but first, we're gonna learn about piracy. Arrgh! It's game day, boys! Game day, boys! Go pirates! Arrgh! Game day, boys! Arrgh! Arrgh! It's game day, boys! Arrgh! It's game day, boys! Game day, boys!
Thousands of dollars apiece in ransom, but the pirates' reputation for not harming their hostages has made... Fuck you! Way too quick.
Okay, I can't see. I can't see.
It's worth hundreds of thousands of dollars a piece. Okay, it's hard to read. It's really for not harming the hostages has made the government... My pirates know where to look and which ships to attack? Spies. The biggest gangs... Shit, we almost did it. True. Things might get out of hand. And that... Okay, what the f... UN issued a plea to the world's native... Not... The world navies? The world's navies? Navies!
Figured that out today.
Aiden, I like your hair.
Thanks.
Yeah. Are you filming?
No,
Okay, tell me when.
I gotta zoom out.
Everybody knows piracy is wrong. But is it... Oh my god.
Start over, just keep going.
Okay. It's the justice. But it's never fast or easy.
4 miles of the ocean. That's a lot of water. Even though thousands of ships on the high seas. Oh, start.
In September, pirates grabbed the Ukraine ship.
When people get hurt.
Surely, the biggest victims of Somalian piracy are the Somalis themselves. Nearly 4 million people there, half the population,
depend on food donations to survive, but piracy attacks on food donation. United Nations to keep sending provisions. In a desperate, oh my god, it went black.
Get back to things might get out of hand, and that officials say. Oh, I gotta start over now. Fucking, hey!
Hey, I'm walking!
Hey, I'm walking!
2007.
Hey.
My stud hurt. Biggest victims of Somalian piracy are the Somalians themselves. Nearly 4 million people, half the population.
Okay, you do. What's happening? What's happening?
Fucking in people, half the population, depend on food donations to survive. But pirate attacks on food ships have made it difficult for the United Nations to keep sending provisions. In a desperate bid to keep...
What is wrong with... But with cruise ship... No.
Go Hop!
Fucking A, fucking A. $14.11, dick. Your ass is mine, huh? Your ass is fucking mine. Piece of shit.
Ziggy, do you have anything to say to Hoff right now?
No, he's a fucking bastard. 15-11. Oh. That was super cool. Like some Super Mario Bros.